Chapter 31. Sierra's feet pounded over the sand. The crashing waves grew closer, and yet the throng haint stayed tight behind her. She could hear its heavy footfall and ragged breath, even more real now than it had been that night in Flatbush. It was a hulking monster, and it was only a few feet away. Her own breath came shorter and shorter, a knot tightening inside her chest. Sierra! Sierra, it's me! She would keep running into the ocean if necessary. She thought maybe, just maybe, she had gained some distance on it. It's Manny! Sierra, wait! Sierra stopped, the crashing waves only a few feet away. She turned around. Manny the Domino King stood about 10 feet away, panting. He looked like hell, his mouth half open as he gasped for air, dark yellowish splotches beneath his eyes, and a few days' worth of stubble crescenting the lower half of his face. Worse, his normally brown skin had faded to dull gray, like he'd been underground for months. Sierra shuddered. Manny took a step toward her, and she took a step back. Sierra! He looked hurt. It's me. Just calm down, please. Sierra shook her head. Tears poured out of her eyes before she could stop them. I know what you are, Manny. I know that thing is inside you. I know, Sierra. Just give me a chance to explain, please. Another step forward. Sierra held still, narrowing her eyes. I'll explain everything. Everything. Just the idea of someone explaining everything made her slightly delirious with hope. If someone could explain everything, that meant that everything actually had an explanation. Even if the answers came from a creepy, corpse-like version of her friend. What do you know? There's so much, Sierra. Your family. Or Lázaro? Now you want to talk, Manny? After everything? He was a powerful sorcerer, Sierra. Stay back! Suddenly, Manny was much closer to her than she had realized. It hadn't even seemed like he was moving. And you've led us right to Lucera, haven't you? His voice was different now. All hints of Spanish gone. Sierra realized something was dancing in Manny's eyes besides his usual mischievous charm. Something. Such a shame. Many voices sobbed mockingly from Manny's bluish lips. His thick fingers wrapped around her left wrist, pulling her forward. You'll have to join the rest of them. Tiny, screaming mouths erupted along his gray flesh like welts. Sierra's breath caught in her throat. Nausea flooded up inside her, and then the pain, the searing burn that shredded up and down her body that she remembered from Flatbush. Everything started moving slowly. She was vaguely aware of swinging her right fist at Manny's face as she wrenched her other arm free. Her punch found its mark, but barely seemed to daze him. His skin was cool and rough to the touch. There was no plan, just sheer terror. The only thing left was the ocean. The crashing waves were only a few feet away. Sierra threw her body to the side just as Manny lurched toward her. She almost fell, put one hand on the beach to steady herself, and then sprinted forward. With her first stride, she felt the spirits surround her. Her second stride seemed longer. She hovered in the air for a split second before landing, and then hurtling toward the sea. Tall, long-armed shadows sprinted alongside her in a thick, humming crowd. The same spirits from the park the night before. Their song rose and fell in gentle crescendos that matched the waves lashing along the sand. Ooh. Sierra became acutely aware of a gentle harmony rising among her racing heart. Her footsteps thumping along the beach. The swirling tide, the chorus of spirits, the moon. A whole symphony of escape took shape in the night. Okay, she thought. I know what I have to do. As if in response, a surge of energy welled up inside of her. She imagined a bright light flashing from some hidden chamber of her heart, pulsing in time with the spirit's lights. Without thinking about it, she pivoted off her left foot and threw herself out over the water.